Hello, I'm James, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to get started with investing in Australia. So if you're anything like me, before I started last year, I had ideas about how I wanted to invest. I sort of knew that I should be doing it, but in terms of like the practical steps that you actually have to take to start, I had no idea. And it all just seemed too complicated. Like, you have to set up an account with this, and then there's a thing called the ASX, and then there's brokers, and I was like, where do I buy the stocks? Just make it easy for me. Why is it so complicated? And I think that's a real problem, and it creates a real barrier to entry when it comes to investing and managing your own money. I think it's quite sad, and I think it's a real missed opportunity. And so that's actually one of my motivations for this channel and sharing this information, is because this is information that I would have loved and didn't know where to find it, and I didn't know where to begin. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you've decided that you're going to start investing, a small amount of money. You don't just, push all the chips on the table straight away, but you're going to start, but you don't know where to start. You know that you want to and you're going to, but you don't know how. So what I want to tell you about is the service that I use, how I started, and I would recommend the same, because I find that it's really user-friendly, and it's cheap and it's easy. So the first thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to set up an account with a broker or a brokerage. Now, if you're a customer of, say, Commonwealth Bank in Australia, I believe they have, their own brokerage service, and compared to others in the marketplace, they're actually quite expensive, but because they're integrated with your personal bank, and you're familiar with that, maybe that's a great option for you. And if so, power to you. I personally, however, use a service called Self-Wealth. Now, Self-Wealth is an Australian startup brokerage, although they're probably no longer in the startup phase, but they're a brokerage that was started by an ex-executive of one of the big four banks in Australia. And why I like Self-Wealth is because their fees are actually really low. A broker, if you want to spend, say, $5,000 on shares, now I'm not expecting that you would, but let's say you want to put $5,000 into a particular stock or ETF or something, that broker will charge you a fee. And generally what's happened in this space is they'll charge you a percentage. So they'll give you a 5% flat fee. Well, that ends up being a lot of money on $5,000 or $10,000. And what I like about Self-Wealth, on the other hand, is they only ever charge a flat fee of $9.50, which I believe from my own research is the cheapest on the market in Australia. And they're really user-friendly platform. I personally use it for my own investing. So what I would recommend you do to start is set up an account with Self-Wealth or another broker. And if you want to set up a Self-Wealth account, I'll put a link in the description, with a referral from me, so that I believe we both get something if you sign up with the referral. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head, but I'll leave that there. So if you want to set up an account with Self-Wealth, then you'll either be benefiting or supporting the channel at the very least. And then probably the next step that you would want to do, step number 2, is once you've set up your brokerage account, is to, figure out how much you want to invest. And I honestly think, you need to have a bit of a strategy or a plan of how you want to invest. And one way you might think about that is, how much of your income are you wanting to put aside into investing every month, or every paycheck 2 weeks, for me, for example, or every 2 months or 6 months, or whatever works for you and your personal situation, right? You have to figure out what's best for you, what's easiest for you, because the last thing you want to do when you're new to something is make it hard. You want to make this as easy as possible. So I personally, every time I get paid, I put money into my little investment pool, and then after say a month, I'll transfer about a set amount of money, say $1,000 or something. I'll move that across into my self-wealth account, and then once I've decided what I want to purchase and I know what the price that I want to pay for it is, I'll search it up in self-wealth and I'll hit buy, and then I won't look at it, I won't worry about it. I'll let it sit there and work for me. So it is as simple as that. All you need to worry about is a brokerage account, which I've recommended, a great one that I personally use, and then a bit of a plan of just how much you want to invest, and on regular intervals or otherwise. Now, because the market can fluctuate quite a bit, there's a strategy called dollar cost averaging, which means rather than trying to get the perfect timing to buy the stock or buy the investment fund or whatever you're buying, rather than trying to perfectly time it, you instead just put regular amounts in over time, once a month, once every 3 months, whatever it may be. So sometimes you'll buy it while it's expensive, and then you'll buy it while it's a little bit cheap, and then you'll buy it when it's expensive, and then you'll buy it on a big discount, and then you'll buy it at a bit of a premium. And overall, what that does is it just averages all of those out. So you don't have to worry about timing the market and, analyzing the charts and all that kind of stuff. It's so important to just make it easy. In conclusion, set up a brokerage account, decide how much you want to invest, and then start. It's that easy. All right, thank you for watching. And if you'd like to set up an account with Self-Wealth, just click the link and leave me a comment and let me know what kind of content that you'd like to see, because I could talk on this stuff forever. Thank you.